Every age has its storytelling form, and video gaming is a huge part of our culture. You can ignore or embrace video games and view them with the best artistic quality. People are enthralled with video games in the same way as other people love the cinema or theater. Andy Serkis. The revolution of home video games started in 1972 with the Magnavox Odyssey. Contrary to what most people think, this was the first home game console, not the Atari, which was released in 1975.
In 1977, Atari released their first cartridge-based console. This revolutionized the gaming industry because consoles first only ran games they had installed on them. On the original Atari, you can change games by using the switches on the consoles. On the new Atari, you just had to switch the cartridge. The cartridge-based consoles opened up a whole new side of gaming. In 1980, Activision, a company still around to this day, opened up as the first third-party distributor and maker of games. It was created by Atari programmers who wanted credit for their work on the games.
In 1983, Nintendo released its NES, but it did not see the United States market until 1985. They had tried to make games just for Japan, but didn't succeed as well as they wanted to, so they had to release it in the United States.
In 1989, Nintendo released the Game Boy, and it sold for $109. As this was the first handheld gaming system, it showed that even the improbable in our minds was possible. In 1994, the Sega Saturn and the Sony PlayStation make their debut in Japan. As these came out, these consoles became their start of the modern consoles. As people experienced modern consoles, gaming started to become more popular.
In 1996, the Nintendo 64 was released. As this was a 64-bit gaming system, better graphics and sounds came into play, and so did better competition. This showed an ever-changing environment for video games and consoles. In 2001, Microsoft's Xbox and the Nintendo GameCube came out. They started to compete with PlayStation and Sega. This competition inspires new and better ideas for the video gaming industry.
In 2005, Microsoft releases the Xbox 360 to compete against the PlayStation 3, which came out earlier in 2005. They started to become the main two systems competing against each other.
In 2013, Microsoft and Sony released their next-gen consoles, the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. This keeps the video game industry going and revolutionizing what it once was. When more people become familiar with these companies, they want these newer and better systems. In 2014, Microsoft buys Mojang, the company that created Minecraft, for $2.5 billion. This was a question concept, but turned out to be a success when they made good profit from it. In 2019, Sony came out with a kid-friendly console to keep their fan base while parents were getting more mad about the violence in video games. In 2030, console-based gaming started to become a thing of the past, causing companies that made these consoles to go out of business. In 2035, PC gaming became the only gaming that still existed. Companies that had made consoles switched over to making PC parts and games. These companies lost money but continued the gaming culture.
In 2040, PC gaming became the biggest industry in the world. Having no other competitors, these companies started to thrive and entertain the youth. In 2050, Valve became the biggest company and took over the world, finally releasing Half-Life 3 and finishing their series that had been running since 1998.
Overall, gaming will continue to thrive and entertain our youth far into the future. It will always continue to evolve and change the technology of our world for the better. Video games have evolved in many ways, but this also shows the advancements in technology. We started off with computers that took up the size of a classroom, then we evolved into Apple computers and have advanced all the way to portable laptops that weigh less than 3 pounds. The evolution of technology has made our society able to do things that we could have never imagined 80 years ago. Video games have been a small but important part of this evolution.